Anyways, now it's time for the main event for some in this chat, Cowboys Eagles. And I want to start by giving out a hollow man. Do y'all know what the sun god's name is?
Oh.
Amon-Ra.
Helios, actually.
Apollo?
Helios, yeah.
Helios. I want to give it to Helios Jones, a.k.a. Jerry Jones. Hollow man to Helios Jones. We know where the sun's going to be. Well, maybe don't put it there. You know? It's like you're asking your fans, your players to overcome the fucking sun. Like, just because they know it's going to be there, then magically they...
It was in the game plan.
I'm low-key...
Okay.
This is a different take. I'm low-key on Jerry's side with this. Like, hey, like, I feel like this should somewhat...
You have the floor.
Listen, why is this? Everyone plays on this field. Everyone has to go in or out of the sun. Why are we only hearing about the Cowboys complain about this? It's your home field. Why don't we?
Because they play there mostly.
But why haven't we heard the teams that they play against complain about it? I feel like it's something with the coin toss and knowing timing of when the sun is coming in there that you should be able to use that to your advantage. Kind of like it's not the same exact thing. Kind of like how Miami
is going nuts.
Look, Miami puts all of their opposing players in the heat.
How the fuck are you on this side? It's Dr. Facts, bro. That's what he does.
In the heat. Listen, what does Miami do? They put the players in the heat, right or wrong. Right. Yeah. And it so you're in the heat the entire game because it's a little advantage of playing in our stadium.
And what do Miami Dolphins do? They adapt to the heat because they fucking practice down there every week. It's not like
you practice there every day. Like you should be used
you're
to the sun.
You're supposed to look at the sun over time and be like, hey, yeah, I'm just gonna stare at this motherfucker. Like 45 when there was a
get some reps in, just like, staring at the sun.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb's just out there with his.
Hey, get a what you call it? Get a tinted visor.
Oh, here's what I was gonna say. You ask, why does it always happen to the Cowboys? Because they play there more than anybody, and because I'm sure it's happened to the other team before, but it's just a little ironic when the guy who has everything is like, I want to build a stadium and I want it to have cool pictures and I want everybody to jack me off every time they come to watch a game and say, oh, what an amazing stadium, Jerry. Look at God shining through the east end zone or the west end zone. I don't know. He built the damn stadium east-west. You know what they need? They need stained glass, like a church. Honestly, people go nuts for that in that stadium, in that region. They need to stain the glass or just put the curtains down that they put down for other events. It feels like Jerry just doesn't want to admit that he fucked up the SimCity game. Like,
what if that was
like he basically is the worst SimCity player?
But look, you want to keep it real, CD? Win a game before you request something like that. How about that? How about that?
The reason you're not hearing opponents complain is they've been getting their teeth kicked in.
Giving up 40 points a game.
So you guys can't request nothing right now, losing like the way you are. Don't ask for stuff.
Then Jerry can't ask for the players to play better because you designed the team. You designed the team. I mean, they hey, Bronco Mendenhall used to say, organization's perfectly designed for its results. You know, like that's how you design your organization is the results you're going to get. There are variables in between the design of the organization and how it ends up that can change, but largely you're going to get the outcome that you designed. And they have designed a shitty team, right down to leaving Derrick Henry off the roster. Could have cost you $5 million or whatever it is. Like, I don't know what it was. It was nothing, right?
So,
so like, affordable. Yeah, it's and letting Dan Quinn get away. It's another situation now where you're like, we're talking about firing Mike McCarthy. Okay, well, who's going to take over for him? And maybe you should have done this last year and given Dan Quinn the damn job. And I want to say this right now. Paint me a picture where Mike McCarthy turns this thing around. You can't. So he's inevitably going to get fired.
Speaking of
that. So do it right now. Now, what I'm going to say is this. Jerry Jones is diabolical in this way, I think, where he's like, I'm not going to fire the son of a bitch. I'm going to make him coach this terrible team. I'm watching him on the sideline, look at his play sheet late in that game with Trey Lance in the game, and I'm just like, what is the inner monologue of this man? If you're a Dallas fan, you can leave the room, you can break your TV, you can chase on the Sunday night game, you can do whatever, you could go do drugs. If you walk outside and smoke a fucking big cone, But if you're Mike McCarthy, you got to sit your ass there with that Denny's menu and try to figure out what play your shitty team with no run game and now Cooper Rush and Trey Lance playing quarterback is going to work at home. You give up 40 points a game at home. Since the game that they lost to the Lions, they have not won at or beat the Lions. They haven't won at home. I've never seen anything like it. They've led for like 3 minutes. Okay? This team is terrible.
Piggybacking off of that.
And I'm so tired about being an adult and being gaslit into believing that this team's supposed to be something. A year
I'm
after.
so sick of watching the Cowboys, bro. They have so many primetime games left. Like, I love watching football on Thanksgiving.
They about to get
I don't know if I
flexed.
can fucking stomach watching.
And you know, yeah. Can we some legislation or something? You know, can we flex teams out of primetime games? Like I'm talking about out of Monday night,
out of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like we don't
Out
need
of Thanksgiving.
we don't need to see them. They should lose their Thanksgiving rights. Honestly,
They should stop.
Agreed.
They should stop expecting the Giants and the Cowboys to be more than decent every year and putting them in this many.
it's true.
primetime
They
games.
truly are America's team because in this country, you can live off the past like a motherfucker. Like you know, you're just supposed to be the Cowboys. Everything's supposed to be America's team, holding us hostage.
Yeah.
They're taking away our freedoms. I don't want to watch that on Thanksgiving. I don't want to watch it on Monday night. Need to be able to flex this team out.
They have 8 games remaining. 3 of them are prime time, with 1 TBD. That's Week 18 against Washington.
Can I say one more thing?
Please?
Go ahead.
Isn't it amazing that it took Jerry's stupid solar death ray to get people this fired up when he was talking about an employee's dick earlier this year?
Crazy.
And everybody was like, oh, that's fucked up. And they
I think we need that kind of discourse, though. Like, I think that's good for
talking
the
about
NFL.
each other's dicks.
Yeah,
I have-
that's good.
He said, yikes.
I have moving on. I have 2.
So you took the other side of the big window and you took the other side of the
yeah.
the dick
I'm
drama.
pro TikTok. Like that's good for society.
I know, but
That's
when
good for-
your boss, like we are joking, but when
Yeah.
your boss is talking about your meat
Yeah.
openly,
Mm.
like no other boss in America survives
I mean,
that.
Chris, technically I work for you, so if you got
You
anything
did do
wanna
that.
say,
I did
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about his meat earlier, but
did.
but it's on y'all. Y'all need to get HR.
You're Jerry-esque.
I am Jerry S.
I'm
But I'll tell you what I'm not going to do is I'm not
We
going
have
to
the
build
green light.
I'm not going to build a giant window and blind you guys in my stupid stadium. I mean, you know what he said? He goes, they asked him about curtains. He goes, well, let's tear the damn stadium down. Build
Right?
another one. Are you
Right?
kidding me?
Yeah.
Yes, you should tear the
Nah.
stadium down and build a new one. You got that much money. The stadium's ugly, and now it's hurting your team.
Bro, imagine you build a house and people start talking shit about it.
Well, if I build an ugly house or a house that like hurts my children,
Yeah.
like imagine I built a house with no staircase and the kids had to like jump down a story every time they had to go to breakfast. Imagine me sitting at the table and being like, figure it out. Every kid.
What do you want me to
sleeps
tear the
over-
house down?
Every kid that sleeps over has to jump down from the second story to the first story.
You have to wear a blindfold in the house.
Yeah,
That's the one caveat.
It's crazy.
Your kids just got to do parkour.
They asked Ben
just to go to
DiNucci.
bed.
Ben DiNucci tweeted, "Still blows my mind. Someone signed off on getting AT&T Stadium built right in the sun. LOL." And then a fan said, "Did y'all ever talk about that in the locker room?" He goes, "Oh yeah."
And he was there for what? 2 years?
Yeah. So yeah. Again, no interest in the coaching change. I know what you're doing, Jerry. You hate this guy.
Mhm.
You hate him. No, I wouldn't. My worst enemy, I wouldn't make him coach the Cowboys right now.
Speaking of that, worst seat mentions going to Mike McCarthy right now just because he just is in a terrible spot.
No question.
And then another mention
Yeah.
in here, I'm going best flight to Nick Sirianni because after giving that interview and slipping up talking about Jalen's
Ooh.
ankle, like if you had went in and laid an
Ooh.
egg
Yeah.
this game,
Yeah.
I can just imagine what like Philly media would be, how they would be on his ass right now.
Yep.
So that flight home must have felt amazing to just dog stomp the
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Oh yeah. That
And-
might be the best flight right there because this team hasn't won there a lot. You know, like they haven't won there a lot. I mentioned this earlier. I want to say something nice about the Cowboys. Overshown, a lot of fun. Guy's a hell of a player. The question is going forward, do they win at home this season? Yeah, that was your big like back
Who do
porch.
they have left?
So they at home, it's Houston this week.
Nope.
Then the Giants in week 13.
That's the one.
Cincinnati week 14.
I am going to be we're going to have a Giants watch party. Now, I know Eagles fans are like, when are you going to talk about us? Enjoy the funeral. Give us 3 minutes to bury the Cowboys. I actually asked Reed, I'm like, should we like start a fire in the studio? Like, should we risk structure fire to like cook the Cowboys? Like lighter fluid, the whole thing. We're not going to do it, but they're absolutely cooked.
Right.
And when you have Micah Parsons after the game saying like,
oh my God,
this is the quote, Mike can leave and go where he wants. You want to win games and do great things with those legends who put in more time and more work than Mike McCarthy ever did. Until he said than Mike McCarthy ever did, I might have passed that off as somebody asked him and said, do you feel bad for Mike McCarthy? And he was like, bad for Mike McCarthy? We're out here playing. But then when you put that at the end, like obviously it's it's not good. And a guy that I'm quite frankly surprised they didn't trade before the deadline a little bit.
Micah is I gotta respect what Micah's doing right now because he knows the season is over and all he has is the views of his podcast.
You're right.
He week by week is running it up. And the reason why I'm okay with it is because, yes, he's been hurt, but he came back and he had an impact. No one really had an impact for the Dallas Cowboys not except for him, but he made some plays. So if you want to talk a little trash, the season is out the window. Do your thing because he probably did want out of there.
He
probably did want out of there.
He doesn't care at all about his performance on the field as like a perennial all-pro guy, like how many sacks he gets, things like that. I think what he's really concerned with is just creating buzzy media sound clips so that his podcast gets more clicks. Like I think you're definitely right about that.
He did both, though.
He did tweet out earlier today.
No, that's what I'm saying. He did both. So like he's doing exactly what he's supposed to now.
But I think Bo's point, and it's layered in sarcasm, is
I'm glad you picked up on that.
I don't know.
I don't think they did.
So here's my point. You can be upset at how bad your team is. Like, listen, I've been on bad teams. Like, you've been on a bad team. Like, it's terrible. So, like, you got to give him. I mean, it's not the right thing to say. I wouldn't say it, but like, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's not just doing this for the podcast. In my opinion, I'm giving him.
No, yeah. But, I mean, I'm just saying it all works. I don't think he's doing it purposely. I just think it's a great thing. Like it's just working out well for him.
I think chicken or the egg. I think he's a guy that likes to use his voice. And he's doing what he does.
And also the reason why I'm saying I'm okay with him doing it is because when Micah's on the field,
he's playing hard.
He's playing hard no matter what, and I respect that. Even when you're on bad teams.
I don't know. So
if he wants to be honest,
just fitting blocks.
If he wants to be honest about what's going on,
and don't forget,
he can. Why not?
The Cowboys had effort issues early last year against the Browns. I just remember in my head, like, remember the beginning of the season? It was like guys were just loafing and shit. Like, I just don't know that they have like a great locker room, anyways.
No,
where it's like,
they can't.
And then you lose Dan Quinn, and you lose him in division.
And then if Dax was the vocal leader in there, he's hurt now. So it's just like
he's hurt, but they got him on the sideline. He almost got ran over.
Crazy.
Did you see that?
Yes.
It's crazy. His hamstring's off the bone. That's what they say. And you got him like backpedaling because
he almost got the chain gang treatment out there.
Yeah, dude.
Still taking hits.
And we didn't even talk about the Mingo trade, dude.
Yeah.
Like that was the big. I think he's trolling. I think he might be trolling.
Right? He's taking.
I don't know.
Just trying to distract from the sun. Blocking players' vision and
Helios Jones, bro. The sun god. The sun god. I want to talk about the Eagles. Though. The Eagles are good. I think the Eagles are good now. I think the Eagles are like not because they beat the Cowboys, but like they have put in enough quality work over the last month of the season where I feel pretty good about them. I'm not saying, hey, this is a big test Thursday, but. This is a place you haven't won, and there's still that part of the Eagles where at the end of the first half, you're playing with your food a little bit against this team, and you're lucky that they're kind of the way they are right now, and I'll give them a pass because of the gravity of going to Dallas and winning. It's a divisional game. You haven't done it in a while. I think they had to get out and jump these guys, and they were close, but obviously you throw the pick. You fumble the football. I thought the biggest, and ironically, the biggest turning point in the game was the sun. Like, if he catches that ball and you don't go down and score before the half, like, you're in a ball game, dude. And I thought going 85 yards in 84 seconds or whatever it was, biggest turning point in the game. And Jalen Hurts, I know he didn't take care of the ball early, but I just want to take a macro view of the guy's performance. Like, I think he looks really good right now.
Yep.
And some of the balls outside the numbers, some of the deep balls, some of the red zone stuff, you know, like avoiding rushers, moving in the pocket, finding people late in downs, like Johnny Wilson. Really nice throw. Really good to see him involved in the offense. He was pressured on half his dropbacks, and I think some of those pressures are on him. Okay? Like, that's one thing about Jalen is, like, sometimes you just got to get rid of the damn ball. So this isn't necessarily all an offensive line thing, but 7 for 9 for 114 yards and 2 touchdowns under pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So very good. And, you know, another thing I noticed in the chaos at the end of the game was Huff didn't play a lot. He played like 12 plays. Had a sack, had a forced fumble, I think on Trey Lance, right? And Zach Bond just continues to play great football. This group has turned it around in a big way. That Zach Bond signing, we talked about this in preseason, Bo. Like, when we went to Philly, I don't even think he knew he was going to be so important in Philly. Like, when we talked to him, it was like, bro, you're going to play a big role. And he was like, yeah, I'm just happy to be here. You know, like,
he was asking us for like Rex. He's like, what place do you like to go out to eat in Philly? I'm like, my guy, like, you're gonna have a great year. Like, enjoy it.
You're not gonna pay for food if things break right for you. So he could be that signing for them. You know, like, the Eagles just played their asses off in a situation where you had to have it. And Saquon Barkley, he's electric with the ball. And one more thing, Saquon Barkley going to give Johnny Wilson the ball after
That's awesome.
That's a little thing, but boy, does it speak volumes about who he is.
Great
Guy
awareness.
scores touchdown. Hey, gets rid of the ball. Like, Saquon darts over to grab it, chases him down. He's like, hey, you're going to want this ball. The guy scored 100 times. You know, he's a great teammate, and the vibes are high on the team right now. And to your point, Nick overcame one of the worst sound bites of the year. I was talking about something. Another thing is what he said. I was like, what, bro? That's the best you got to get out of this little pickle? I was talking about another thing. So nobody cares. If
Hey, you gotta pull that one out when you say some dumb shit around Meg next time.
Oh,
just
it'll work.
the Sirianni.
It'll work. She'll be like, I think I saw that in a Nick Sirianni press conference. That's the problem with marrying a Philly girl or South Jersey. So